morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Public and Protective Services Committee meeting. It is June 24th, 2025. I am your chair, Councillor Chris Thiessen, and joined today in committee by Councillors Blackmore, Berg, and the Mayor herself, Jackie Clayton. I'll call this meeting to order, and I'll look to my committee members for adoption of the agenda. Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I'd like to move committee adopt the agenda as presented.
Sounds like that motion's in order. I'll call it to question and state that I am in favor. And that motion carries for nothing. And we'll move right into reports here today as we have no delegations. Service area update item 4.1. And for that, I'll turn it to our Deputy Chief, Stephanie Cajoles.
Thank you, through the chair. So for the service area update from Enforcement Services, seasonal bike patrols are now underway in the city's green spaces and trail systems. Peace officers also recently assisted in the wildfire response by supporting access control in county evacuation zones, helping to safeguard residents and property, and supporting regional emergency operations. Continuing with enforcement services, officers continue to monitor properties with recurring foxtail growth. While that is not classified as a noxious weed, it can pose a risk to animals once it reaches the seeding stage. As a preventative measure, notices have been sent to property owners or their designates who experienced challenges with foxtail control last year, encouraging early removal before it goes to seed. Additionally, proactive patrols in previously affected neighborhoods began last week, and enforcement action will follow if necessary. In partnership with the Communications Department, a public education campaign on the impacts of feeding feral rabbits will launch later this week. Enforcement Services will support the initiative by helping to share information and raise awareness. In May 2025, Mobile Outreach supported a total of 285 unique individuals. Of these, 52 were new to outreach services, with 26 individuals actively engaged in casework services during this period. At the Eastlink Centre, the West Fraser Fieldhouse reopened as scheduled this week, featuring a refurbished floor, updated sport lines, and improved netting infrastructure to support multi-sport use. The squash courts also received new backwalls panels and additional maintenance, further enhancing the facility's overall amenities. In events and programming, residents are encouraged to celebrate Canada Day with a full day of festivities, including a parade at 2 p.m. Activities in Muskosipi Park begin at 3:30, featuring carnival rides, food trucks, and community booths. Live entertainment at the amphitheater begins at 3:30. This year's lineup includes TJ Ruckus, Hey Driver, Brad Sims, and Aaron Goodvin. The day finishes with fireworks at 11:30, presented by Pomeroy Hotel and Conference Center. To support a more inclusive experience, a new accessibility pass has been introduced this year to help individuals with physical or cognitive disabilities reduce wait times for carnival rides. For more information or to register for the accessibility pass, visit cityofgp.com/Canada Day. The annual Grande Prairie Triathlon returns to the Eastlink Centre on July 6th for participants to swim, bike, and run their way across the finish line. Participants can register online at cityofgp.com/triathlon. For programming, summer camps officially begin on July 2nd. To help bridge the gap after school ends on June 25th, single-day camps have been added for June 26th, 27th, and 30th. So far, summer camps are approximately 75% full for the summer. A new seniors walk and talk group has launched for the summer. It starts Wednesdays at 10 a.m. at Muskosipi Park. Each session begins at the Ernie Radburn Pavilion and features a walking route that changes weekly. Curriculum-based programs wrap up today, and since May, program instructors have successfully delivered a total of 210 programs. The Youth Advisory Council wrapped up their 2024-25 term with a year-end celebration at Muskosipi Park. Thank you to all members for their active participation and meaningful contributions, and congratulations to the 9 graduating seniors. Applications for the 2025-26 term are open until October 15th for youth aged 14 to 24. Interested individuals can apply through the city's website. And that concludes my service area update.
Awesome. Thanks you very much for that, Ms. Cajolet. I'll turn it over to committee members for questions, and I have Councillor Berg in the queue.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen, and thanks, Ms. Cajolet. I'm hearing a lot of concern now that summer has rolled in around e-bikes and scooters on the Muskogee Park trails. You'd mentioned bike patrols are now in effect. What form of enforcement are you aware of that we're doing around e-bike and scooter concerns?
Ms. Cajolet.
Thank you, through the chair. Certainly, the approach that enforcement would take would be educational in nature as a preliminary measure, and then additional enforcement measures if needed. But the hope is that we don't proceed to that stage.
And bottom line, we're on top of it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to look to committee for any other questions, getting a shake of heads. Thank you very much for the update there, Ms. Cajolet. Appreciate it all. And we'll move right along and send it right back over to you here with our item 4.2, Recreation Access Program and Transit Access Program for Seniors. And I'll turn it to you, Chief Cajolet, to introduce this.
Thank you, through the chair. This report is in response to a council motion from earlier in the year regarding subsidized access to recreation and transit programs for seniors. Director Wenzel is joining us today to present the recommendation and report.
Welcome.
Good morning. This report is in response to the March 10, 2025 motion directing administration to explore automatic enrollment for eligible seniors into the Recreation Access Program, referred to as RAP, and the Transit Access Program, referred to as TAP. This direction provided an opportunity to take a closer look at how the city currently supports residents through all affordability programs. While reviewing the feasibility of automatically enrollment for seniors, it became apparent that there's a broader systemic issue exists, not only related to eligibility for seniors, but across all affordability initiatives due to inconsistent eligibility criteria. Currently, the city offers a variety of programs aimed at improving access and inclusion. So, for example, our RAP program, we have a 25-75 cost share model, which is income tested, and where we use LICO and Statistics Canada data. For our TAP program, again, a 50-50 subsidy, also income tested. For our AISH recipients, they pay $10 a month for transit and receive free 10-punch pass to Eastlink. Then we have our Explore GP program, which provides access to the Eastlink, ARC, and Transit for up to 3 months with no income testing. So all of these programs they're really good programs, and they've been developed for different eligibility requirements. And for right now, what we're finding is there's lots of confusion for residents, perceived inequalities, and there's some complexities for administration around for city staff and partners. We've also observed that some groups, such as low-income seniors, may receive less support than others, even though their financial situation are similar or more constrained. For example, seniors receiving Alberta Seniors Benefit may have similar financial resources as individuals on AISH, yet they do not qualify for the same transit discount or recreation subsidies. These inconsistencies were not intentional, but they do highlight the need for a more coordinated and equitable approach, one that reflects our council's inclusive and caring community priority, fostering deep and sincere inclusiveness through all social and economic dimensions of the community. To address these inconsistencies, administration recommends the development of a fair access policy and procedure. This would provide a standardized framework, clear and consistent criteria, greater transparency, streamlined administration. And we can also revisit some of those automatically enrollments at that time. In closing, administration is seeking council's support to proceed with the development of a fair access policy and procedure to ensure that all affordability programs are delivered in a transparent, equitable, and consistent manner, especially for seniors and vulnerable residents. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take some questions.
Thank you very much for the report there, Ms. Wenzel. I will turn it over to questions from committee. I have one question myself. When we define seniors through this program, are we talking about the 55-plus crowd or the 65-plus crowd?
Thank you for the questions for the chair. Again, with the eligibility criteria that are in place currently, our RAP and TAP program are designed for 60 and 65 plus, not the 55 plus that we did for the Aging Well Together. So there's where I'm talking about the inconsistencies, where we talk about our Aging Well Together at a 55, but yet our program eligibilities are based on 65.
Okay, no, that's good to know. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you for bringing this forward. Now I understand why I couldn't answer a resident's question about what he was eligible for, because I was giving him incorrect information based on the RAP instead of the TAP program. So I really look forward to seeing some continuity here. In response to Councillor Thiessen's question about age, I'd just like to point out that if you're a master swimmer, you could be as young as 25.
Thanks for that.
So I don't know if there's other questions. I could do business.
Well, I do have one other question in the queue from Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. So this seems fairly complex from where I'm sitting, but I'm not really living it day to day. So I guess my question, have you already started doing some thinking on this? Is there templates out there that we can work from? I'm just kind of wondering how labor intensive this will be, because it does seem like a complicated formula to balance it into that fairness category.
Thank you for the question through the chair. We have already started the jurisdictional scan. Actually, we did it about 4 years ago, so we'll just be updating that one to reflect kind of what's happening across the province. Most all municipalities have similar programs in place, so we're just going to look at some best practices and some maybe sliding scales and really look at what's happening across the province versus kind of just having those one-offs. And I think that's kind of what's happened throughout the years. Really good intentions have come forward, and it's just we've developed them based on community need at that time. So this will just give us an opportunity to look at developing a criteria that will work for all of the people in our community and that will be equitable.
Okay, thanks. That's great to hear.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Councillor Berg. I'll look around, seeing no one else shooting up their hands. I will turn it over to Councillor Blackmore to do business.
I would move that committee direct administration to develop a fair access policy and procedure to improve clarity, consistency, and equitable access to the city's affordability programs, including Recreation Access Program, Transit Access Program, H Card Program, and Explore GP pilot.
All right, thank you very much for that. Councillor Bressie.
Sorry, my apologies. I didn't try to get in earlier because I just thought I'd wait till this comes to council. So it's not on this committee, but I realized this isn't going to come to council before it gets developed. So want to share a bit of input. And I know that it was me that pushed for the motion to get this going with the automatic seniors renewal and enrollment. And I noticed the little detail in the report about there's issues with that idea about consent. And I assume it just means you can't just automatically sign somebody up for something that they don't want. So when this policy comes back, though, respect automatic's probably poor language I used. I still hope that we can work with partners in the community to make super easy, streamlined. For me, I think that if somebody's going to seniors outreach and senior outreach has identified that they're eligible for a low-income program, there's no reason we need to do the administrative work to re-verify that. And there's no reason the person has to go through the potential embarrassment and the work of taking their tax return to the city, et cetera. And so I would love to have a process where if an organization identifies somebody's eligible for this program, they can just say, hey, do you want us to enroll you in this? And our partners can enroll them in it. So just some thoughts on that I'll be pushing for if it's not in the policy when this does come to us that I just wanted to share.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. It means you're caring. And appreciate that.
One question.
Yeah, Ms. Winston.
Thank you for that comment. So we do have an automatic, we don't consider it automatic. We have a referral form. So if an organization is working with an individual, they don't have to actually fill in any additional paperwork. They can just fill in it that the executive director of Seniors Outreach can send over a form saying, I'm working directly with this individual. We don't ask any other questions.
Wow. I've been wanting to do that for years, and I didn't know we were already doing that, so I'm a little bit embarrassed, but really glad to hear that we're that we're doing that. I appreciate getting that information. So
Thank you. And we do it with all of our housing and homelessness organizations. So any organizations that we work directly with, we work very closely with them on making sure that they have minimal access to accessing these programs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this is really great. I actually took it right from my notes to comment on the motion. I like, and I'm looking forward to seeing this this fair access policy come forward, because I feel like it's not only going to simplify things for our seniors, it streamlines it, and the whole referral process is very similar to how doctors can now prescribe Eastlink passes for people, and we'll accept that as a municipality. I think this goes a long way for affordability for our seniors, and when they're already taxed like everybody else, this is going to go a long way to hopefully letting them live longer, healthier, and happier lives. With that being said, I see no other hands going up or comments, so I'll call the question. Councillor Thiessen in favor. And that carries. We look very much forward to the report coming forward and all the work that you put into this, Ms. Wenzel. Thank you. All right, moving right along to our last item on the agenda besides the outstanding items list, we have our traffic bylaw amendment, C-1166M for Mario. And I'll turn this over to Deputy Chief Stephanie Cajolet to introduce this.
Thank you. Through the chair. This report relates to an administrative recommendation to enhance provisions under the existing traffic bylaw, and Managing Director Napier is with us today to present this report.
Well, thank you for that introduction and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. With regards to the proposed amendment to the traffic bylaw, the City of Grande Prairie currently leases a city-owned parking lot to a third-party operator. However, the existing traffic bylaw does not clearly address how enforcement applies in situations where city-owned parking lots are leased to private operators. The proposed amendment to Section 34 of the traffic bylaw aims to provide greater clarity for both lessees and the public by confirming that the bylaw applies not only to privately owned parking lots, but also to city-owned lots that are under lease to a third party. This amendment will enable the enforcement of parking regulations, including issuance of tickets on these leased city-owned lots. It is recommended that the Public and Protective Services Committee recommend that Council give 3 readings to Bylaw C-1166M. That concludes the report. I would be pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Wow, short, sweet, and to the
Short,
point.
sweet.
Thank you very much, Ms. Napier. I'll look to committee for questions. Oh, I got Councillor Berg wanting to do business. I have one question, though, just in relation to the city-owned and leased parking spaces. Does this include the Montrose Cultural Centre, or have we already been ticketing people at that underground parking space?
So that underground parking space, it was paid parking down there. That paid parking is now removed. We have not received of late any concerns with anybody parking longer than permitted down there. So there hasn't been any recent enforcement down there because we haven't received any concerns.
Okay, no, thank you. That clears it up for me, at least. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Berg for business.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. I'd like to move committee recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C-1166M, being an amendment to the traffic bylaw. Just speaking to this, it's a 29-page bylaw. We're only talking about a few points that just simply update something new that the city has done by leasing out one of our parking lots. It relinquishes us from doing maintenance and a number of other things, but also, I believe, ticketing. So this just hands over that control to the leasee.
All right, thank you for those comments on that and your motion. Seeing no other discussion or debate, I'll call the question. And Councillor Thiessen in favor. That motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Napier, for your report. In and out, just like that. I love it. All right, moving to our outstanding items list. Once upon a time ago, this used to be a little over 2 pages, and now we're down to about 5 points, and I'll turn it over to our Deputy Chief, Stephanie Cajolet, for the update.
Thank you, through the chair. Given the report for 1356 related to recreation access transit programs, the outstanding items list could be amended to remove that item since it was presented today. Additionally, items 1368 and 1369, administration would request that the expected report date for those two items be adjusted to Q3 of this year.
Yep. Just a question in regards to 1369. It is already at Q3. Is we moving that one back too, or
no? My apologies. Sorry, it should be 1327. The Bose pilot program evaluation.
Perfect. All right. So I'll look to Councillor Blackmore for a motion.
I move committee receive the June 24th outstanding items list as amended for information.
That motion is in order. We'll call to question, and I will put my support in favor of that. And that carries unanimously. Well, thanks to everyone for joining us so briefly. We have done lots of good work here today, and this meeting is adjourned. We'll pass it on to operator.